Injury is just a symptom. It's a little bit like headache. Most grab a couple of painkillers to get rid of the pain in the head. But most of those guys actually get headaches over and over and again, and sometimes they get more and more chronic because also the brain gets used to it. So what if we did like this instead? We got a headache. We figure out when and why every day. We figure out what we've been doing different. For example, a lot of headaches come from light dehydration. So a couple of glasses of water might actually take care of the cause. Or lack of sleep or tension in the neck. You're sitting and working, we are actually reaching forward like this, and you can really feel it in your neck, and that can pull and can make a headache. So by finding the cause, we can take the injury or the symptom away. So now the big question, what is the main cause for running injuries? I would say running injuries even. I'll stick my neck out now and say that the main cause for so-called running injuries is sitting. Now you look at me, he's crazy. No, but it's true, hear me out. What happens is that when you're sitting a lot, our hip flexors, which is in the front of the body, which basically help us to lean forward, are very, very strong. So when we sit, if we see this at the hip flexors, they get a little bit shorter, a little bit shorter, a little bit shorter, and start pulling. So what happens is that because they pull, everything around the hip is connected. Then the glutes get less activated and maybe a little bit longer. So when you go for a run, that tilt in your hip, you can see that. Go to a park and look, especially when they come out from the office and go for a run. A lot of them have a tilt. So what happens then, you get a tilt in the hip, you have to take a longer step, which means you're landing more on your heel, and the impact, it's much greater because you're landing so much in front of the body of mass. And then that impact is going to travel up the kinetic chain because the feet are in the bottom. It might end up like even in the lower back, hip, knees, or feet. When you're sitting a lot, you start having that hip flexors are getting stronger. A lot of people who work in office, they get problem in the lower back. So if you stretch out the hip flexors, the lower back pain might disappear. So also the hip flexor pulls the glutes, so the glutes get underactivated. Now we have quite a few different injuries that can happen, and one that I had years ago is basically that because my glutes is not activated and not pulling back, I get, if you see this as a knee, I get an in rotation on my knee, and I got a damaged meniscus, and that's quite common. Also, it's all relates to a lot of other kind of injuries like IT band. So say we got a knee injury, yeah? We are spending so much time fixing the knee injury with operations, with stuff like that, but it doesn't help if you don't take care of the cause. So this, like, if we treat the knee injury as the knee is actually the injury, the problem is we have to stretch our hip flexors, and we might have to actually strengthen our glutes. So we have to strengthen our glutes, so we actually straighten up our hip flexors. And I actually do this with my clients quite often because it's not that hard. Think of the pelvis, it should be like a bowl, right? And it's all rubber band connecting to the pelvis. So it depends what's pulling, it's going to tip the ball, and we want to keep the ball straight. I have a method where I work with my clients for 1 or 2 hours, and I can sort it out, and I do some exercises, and people can actually change the running. And I let them run the way they run before, and they don't like it. I had problems with this plantar for a long, long time. There was months. I tried everything. I was reading on the internet. I was asking friends. I had people who tell me what to do. I tried like the frozen bottles to roll under. I strengthening exercises, special expensive insoles that I bought for this one, massage, a lot more. And I just kept going, and I didn't actually get any better. I got better for a while, and then it came back again. I got better for a while, and it came back again. So it was really, really annoying, and it really put my running back a lot. So until a friend, this is weird, he was really, really knowledgeable about the body of movement and stretching and how you can do that. He told me, take your shirt off, no shoes, take a photo, and send it to me. I thought it sounded really wishy-washy. But hey, I didn't have much to lose, because either that or I'm going to stop running, right? So I took a photo I sent to him, and he sent back. And his answer was like this. My mind is still blown when I talk about it. He said, I can see that your left big toe is pointing this way inwards a little bit. It's too open. That is normally a sign that your right psoas, the right psoas is part of the hip flexors actually on my right side, is tight. And I was going, hang on, that's on my sort of front of my hip. That was before I know more about how the body works. But that was in front of my hip, and this was my left foot, and it was the right hip as well, so it was not on the right side, so it was really weird. So he gave me some exercises and stretches, and I started to do them. And I'm not kidding that within 2 weeks doing those exercises, all of my plantar fasciitis disappeared. And this was probably 8-9 years ago, and I never had any problem again. And I was ready to give up my running because I couldn't fix the plantar. It's really interesting that when you find a cause, you can fix a problem so quickly. So finding the cause is so important. So remember, take care of injuries, let them heal, but find and fix and treat the cause. So my tips are, if you get a running injury, look beyond the area where the pain is. First of all, I mean, when you first have the pain, the first course of action, yeah, make sure you get rid of the pain so you can actually live a normal life, depending on how severe it is. But also start looking around the bigger area. And not only that, think back before the injury. Was it something that you could have read into before from your body? Was the body giving away some signs? Like, did you do a run and you felt like a muscle was more tired? You were a little bit more sore or stiff before, or just felt a little bit off? So this is a real good reason why, when you're doing running, that you have a running journal, even for training, because then you can write down stuff like that. You don't care after you've done thousands of runs that you run 10K. If you have a journal, at least write down when you feel like something is different, because then you can go back and you can help yourself. So that's pretty cool. So also when you're running, keep listening and tune into your body. What I mean with that is that listen to what happens. I mean, you know your body the best, so if you can tune in and actually listen to what happens and reading the signals, you can probably take care of an injury and catch it before it happens. I really encourage you, don't run with music. Tune in and check in with the body. The whole run. In fact, when you're running around and you start actually taking the signals, you're doing small adjustments, you try to be more efficient, those are usually my best runs. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you can actually learn something from it. Even in normal, if you have injuries, look at the cause, don't just treat the symptom. Okay, I am on 27K, and I just want to show you the view. And this is the trail. This is just unbelievable, beautiful.